Well, welcome everybody to a tour of the Smart Home GeenStar Gut Rehab. This course is approved for 1 hour in continuing education units AIBD, GVCI, Certified Green Professional, Certified Green Home Professional, NIRE Green. It's also approved for AIA, Health, Welfare, and Safety, HSW, and may be applicable for your local state-based or designed contractor license. We're going to be bringing you behind the scenes of many homes, gut rehabs, new constructions, single-family, multifamily, mixed-use renovations, urban, rural, suburban, you name it, throughout the country. This particular course, we're going to be looking at a GreenStar registered gut rehab of a smart home featuring many smart systems in Minneapolis. The other unique thing about this is some products that have just been released for the first time ever are being introduced in this house. And we'll be going over the OA Awesome Wall, which is very awesome, as it says. So join us, and hope you enjoy. Thank you.
I'm Michael Anschel with Otogawa-Anschel. You're in front of the OA house, the OA Awesome House, what we call it. We've got a gut rehab here. We took a 1,200 square foot home and we turned it into a 3,500 square foot home. So 3,467 is the total square footage. We have this house at 1 air exchange at the end of the project, and I think we were at like 9 before the project. So we made significant improvements there. Our energy model suggests that this house has an annual heating cost of $500, which is really, really great for the great state of Minnesota here. That's a significant. Especially for 3,467 of square footage. All right, so let's go check it out. The original house was the shape of this blue lap siding with the stucco front interior, and we've added on to the side of the house going this way and the back of the house, which you'll see later. Really important to us was to keep the massing and the scale of this project in keeping with the neighborhood. So oftentimes a development will produce something like that thing over there, the second house in, which is huge, out of scale, doesn't fit the neighborhood, aesthetically is kind of hideous. That belongs in that McMansion Hell website for everything done wrong. This we felt was really important to make sure that it felt like it fit here and wasn't imposing when you walk by it on the street. So, I was going to save this for later, but I'll talk about it now since it's right in front of us. This is the OA Awesome Wall, and it is a system of products. So each of these products on their own are good products. It's the combination of products that makes a good system, and what I have always been chasing is a good wall system that I can use for new construction or existing that is difficult to screw up, because things get screwed up in the field all the time. So I'm looking for performance, resilience, and ability to install in multiple scenarios, and for things to be done incorrectly and for it to still work. So those are my criteria. So we start with 2x4 construction. 2x4 construction is lighter, cheaper, faster, and in this instance we don't need anything more than it. We put a 2-inch polyiso cyanurate bonded to OSB. It comes with this impregnated surface, which is their waterproofing system, right? This goes on with a pneumatic nailer. So this is really key. Any of the perfect wall or other type systems that have strapping require the use of screws. Screws take a really long time to install. This, we use a timber frame nailer, like a Bostitch or whatever. Bang, 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 bang. One person can hold this panel because it's lightweight, and we're installed. So there's no second or third trip around the house for strapping or anything like that. We're also essentially dried in as soon as this is on, which is really nice. We go over all the fasteners with a liquid membrane material, which this has been sitting out in the elements now for about 6 months, and it looks like it did on day one. It's incredibly sticky tape, and it really holds up well. We have their super stretchy tape, pan flashing tape, which really puts like the flex wrap, which is pretty typical you see, but the flex wrap pinches up in the corners. There's a lot of buildup, makes it hard to trim windows afterwards, and it sticks to itself. And for anybody who's done that, as soon as it touches itself, you've just lost that sheet of material. This stuff does not stick to itself, and it's super, super stretchy, super thin, and doesn't bunch up. So down in this corner here, we have almost no buildup whatsoever from our hand flashing. The only thing here is the actual flange of the window itself. Then we have our rain screen, and this stuff is just amazing and wonderful to work with. Again, no strapping, no worrying about core vent. Am I venting properly? This is multi-directional venting for a ventilated rain screen system behind a cladding. The cladding itself is a solid cellular PVC, and solid cellular PVC is a very stable version of PVC. On its surface, the finish carries a 25-year warranty against 5% fade. So we're not talking about a peel or a paint type warranty, we're talking about just 5% fade. So this is a 100-year cladding. And the reason that we used a cellular PVC cladding on a system like this is we are taking a 90-year-old house and we're giving it another 100 years of life. And I'd like my cladding system to last at least as long as my wall system. The other advantage that it gives us is that because it's cellular PVC and it moves, the corners and spaces above the window are always open. And so even if somebody, puts a piece of siding too close to the window or whatnot, we'll always be able to ensure that our ventilation behind the cladding is intact. And that's critical because if someone punctures this, if we get water within the wall, that water is going to drain out. It needs to be able to dry. And if I don't have my airflow on the outside of my wall, then it will get wet. So we have multiple redundancies through the system. On the inside, we have 2 inches of spray polyurethane foam for R14. This is really, really critical in northern climates that we not exceed R14 on the inside of the wall. So we're R12 on the outside, R12 to 14 on the inside, no more. This ensures that the Delta T stays outside the wall assembly. So again, any punctures, any failure in the system, buildup of humidity on the inside, vapor drive, condensation point is always outside of my structural wall and somewhere in this neutral void of foam. That's a good thing. Last piece in the system, which is a vinyl frame window with an extruded aluminum cladding and a solid wood interior. So this is the best of all 3 worlds. I have my super resilient, good looking extruded aluminum outside. I've got a super beautiful aesthetic wood inside. I can stain it, paint it, do whatever. And there's no ugly vinyl to be seen. The vinyl is in the frame, and that's really where we want the vinyl so that we get that thermal break. So this is an almost thermally broken window. So it's right in that $300 to $600 a unit pricing, which is great. And they look good. So that's the wall system, and it covers both the existing portions of the house as well as the new portions of the house. Since we're outside, I'm going to show you one more thing that I get excited about. So when we come to foundations, we put 3 inches of extruded polystyrene on the outside of our foundation. The way that the codes are written, if you put any insulation on the inside of the foundation, on the inside, you have to drain tile the inside of the home. I want to drain tile the outside of the house. I want my waterproof on the outside of my house, and I want the most insulation on the outside of my house. The challenge is always, with 3 inches of extension, what do I do with my walls, my cladding system, my trim? How do I get those to time out properly? Well, the Zip R12 is 2.5 inches thick. So if I cantilever my framing out 1/2 inch, then my 3 inches of extruded polystyrene time out perfectly with my Zip R12, and I can just put a piece of coil stock right over the connection, and I am waterproofed, tight, no weird water table details, no funky Z flashings, and when it comes to flashing details, simple is always better, as we all know. All right, should we go inside?
Yeah.
The camera, everything is wireless and connected and can be controlled from your phone through the app, which is nice. All right, so on the inside of the house, this is the original 1927 portion of the house. We've got the original stucco fireplace wall. We saved that one wall. All of the other walls, we tore off the plaster and lath because it was pretty cracked and crumbling, and we needed to replace it with something. We brought in this beautiful piece of steel, and which clear spans the entire house from north to south. That was a lot of fun to bring in because we did not tear the second floor off, so this we had to bring in by hand. 6 of us drug it in here and worked it up into place, and it was a sweaty day. The fenestrations, as you look around on the original part of the house, are the original fenestrations. Obviously we've got new windows, but the openings are the original openings. So we didn't make changes to that. The floors, the original white oak floors, they're quite beautiful. This is probably a good time to talk about the transition here between old and new. So this is original floor, this is new floor, this is a piece of walnut to show where we started and stopped. There was a staircase here originally that went to the second floor and a small kitchen. But that gray colored wall that you're looking at there, or the backsplash wall, that was the edge of the house. And the other edge of the house was right here. House was 24 feet by 24 feet. By comparison, the garage is 26 by 26. So it was a fairly small house. But by pushing this way and pushing that way, we've actually managed to make it quite a bit larger without really changing how it feels on the lot. The original insulation, newspaper, tried and true. Fun, curious fact thing that happened. The paper is March 27th, 1927, and we finished this project on March 27th, 2017. So 90 years later, almost to the day, which is kind of cool. The floors are all finished with, it's a water-based system, but what's really exciting about it is that it's what we call dead flat. So there's no sheen on the floors whatsoever. So they give it a kind of a rustic farmhouse, hand-oiled finish. Doesn't show up scratches as much. It's really, really nice. This tile right here, right next to us, this is tile from right here. That's well within our 500 miles. It's like 6, which is pretty cool. Right above it, this is the cabinet system. Now, it's worth noting that it is very different from other cabinetry systems, and it's got a number of great green features to it. The frames are made from a bicomposite polyethylene and wood fiber blend. These are die cast, and they are identical. So they change in colors, black, white, gray, I think, but they are the same part over and over and over and over, which means that they're infinitely flexible, which is nice. Whether I'm doing upper cabinets or lower cabinets, I get to use the same componentry over and over and over again. You also notice that I can put my hand right through it. And this is just like we would in truss design. We're looking for efficiency in materials. We don't need more material than what's here. This is providing all my structural strength for the cabinet. And less is more, right? You'll also notice that there are no backs to the cabinets. We all know that the backs of cabinets don't play a role in the strength of a cabinet, and so here they've left it out, which gives us an opportunity actually to make use of the space behind the cabinet, in this case to show off the tile, which is really cool. So there are no sides, there are no backs, there are no bottoms, there are no tops. It's a minimalist system, and it's called minus, exactly for that reason. The cabinets below are exactly the same as what's above, but these have fronts and sides on them so that you can't see it. But if I open it up, you'll see there is that bicomposite frame once again. The doors themselves are solid wood perimeters with a cardboard type waffle core. So they're very, very, very light. This is important for a couple reasons, primarily in shipping when we talk about transporting materials point A to point B. An entire house worth of cabinetry is going to weigh a lot less, maybe, I don't know what, say 700 times less than an MDF kitchen would. right? We're that much lighter. So we're using less materials, we're a lot lighter, which impacts our shipping. They're easy to install, they don't put as much weight on the hinges, but once they're installed, they feel just like any normal door. This is poplar, and it's glued up and cross-cut to give us this exotic-looking grain. And the same is true in the kitchen. We'll walk over here, and what looks like some kind of fancy tiger wood or zebra wood is, again, this is poplar, stained, glued up, sliced on the diagonal, and put together to create this look. This is a wire brushed pine, and so it's got a nice texture. It's a 3D texture. It's really cool. You'll notice that there are no knobs. So again, here's being creative, right? The bottom shelf in the system is a ½ inch shy of the front of the door. So to open the door, you slide your hand up behind the door and you open it. It's kind of brilliant.
Is there any reason you didn't go with the open cabinet look?
We wanted to showcase all of the different things that you could do with this particular cabinet line.
Okay.
So throughout the house, we keep changing the system.
Okay.
And I think that the open stuff looks good on the bar. It looks cool in the storage room. I think that aesthetically, people want to have something that's much more clean and contemporary in their space. The countertops. So the countertops this is a monument grade granite. So it's rated for the exterior. It's designed to withstand the elements. It is very, 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 very dense. But when you touch it, Brett, you should touch this. It's very soft. So we hone the surfaces so you don't see water or glare, but also to make the material feel more pleasing to the touch. That countertop, we'll spin around here. This is a ceramic countertop. And it's 2 pieces of ceramic with a thin piece of felt in between. It is a great material for a bar, for bathrooms. You could do it in the kitchen as well. I think that the market prefers stone right now, but a really cool, lightweight, very durable solution, which looks great. We've got to put a piece of reclaimed lumber in every project. So this is our Doug fir post from a barn somewhere in the state of Minnesota. The wall finishes throughout the entire house. They're quite large here. This is carcinogen-free, silica-free, and VOC-free. So this is a big part of this company's mission and has been for a very long time. We talk about VOCs a lot with our clients, but for the installers, we don't talk as much about carcinogens and silica. So silica is a filler that's used in paints. They use silica as a filler. It's inexpensive. And the problem is that when you sand it, you release all that silica into the air. And since painters never wear their respirators, that means that they breathe it in, and silicosis, it's a real thing. Carcinogens are another piece where most paint manufacturers still struggle with pulling out of their product. We finished painting this place, and not only did it not stink, but we felt good about everyone who was handling the product, sanding the product, etc. This fridge here, I know you guys are looking at this and wondering what this is about. It is a 4-door fridge, and this freezer has the same capacity as a typical bottom slide-out freezer. However, because it's got drawers and pockets on the door, it's considerably more functional, and we are pretty excited about it. This is a flex zone. This can be a freezer if you have a lot of frozen stuff, or it can be a fridge, easy enough, and then French door, typical fridge, LED lights, whole 9 yards. But what everyone thinks is really cool, of course, is that it has a giant touch screen on it. It has speakers built into it so you can listen to the radio. It has a whiteboard so you can leave each other notes, and people like to draw things on here. Kids really, really enjoy the whiteboard, which is a lot of fun. And all of your controls are here. So recipes, whatever you might need. And if you're watching the game downstairs, you hit TV mirroring and that appears up here, and you can stay in touch with the game while you're making the next round of appetizers.
Now, does it tell you the quality of your food?
It doesn't tell you the quality of the food, but it does track your food when you put it in for when it will expire, when you run out of it. And then it has a shopping app, so you can just say order the field yogurt and my organic eggs, and then there's a delivery service and it will just show up, which is kind of trippy. By the way, this is the other piece that I forgot to show you, and everyone freaks out, but it has cameras on the inside of the fridge so that I can literally see what's inside the fridge, and I can do that from my phone. If I'm at the grocery store and I can't remember if I've got pickles, what's inside my fridge? Oh, yeah, I got pickles, right? So it's pretty cool.
See how much energy you can save not opening the fridge, but even that's
even just looking inside, right? Instead of opening the fridge, the kids, we can sit here and look and see and talk about what we want to eat for dinner without opening the door.
Before you see the mold, and then you can put the mask on.
Right, yeah. This is kind of a cool feature as well, if you can see it. Double oven is something that we get a lot of requests for, and this oven has a partition in the middle that lets you set temperature for the upper portion and the lower portion separately. So if your Thanksgiving meal, turkey and stuffing, you can do that. If you've got kids who want to eat fish sticks and cookies and stuff like that, pizzas, it turns into a small single oven, so you use a lot less energy heating up just this small cavity than the entire fridge, or the entire oven.
Right.
You also can preset the oven, control it from your phone so that you can turn it on while you're still at work, so that when you get home, it's whatever's been in there is cooked for an hour, it runs the program, turns itself off.
Wow.
This Brone hood is super awesome too. One of the big changes was voted on and went through about 6 months ago was allowing appliances to have automated components that don't have off switches to them. It's kind of a big deal. So this has a sensor in it. When it senses too much heat from here, it turns on. This does two things. It keeps this from melting, which is good, but it also draws air away from whatever might be happening here, might keep a pan from melting down completely, and a lot of these appliances will then send an alert to you as well that something is wrong, something's gone on, there's too much heat. So, really cool, slim profile.
So if you're cooking, it just automatically ramps up knowing it needs to,
if you're in there
ventilation
cooking
standpoint
and you didn't turn it on, it will sense the heat and it will turn on and it will start to ventilate.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really a big deal, I think, especially since we're trying to get folks to properly ventilate their homes.
Yeah. We still see tons of recirculating hoods, so.
Oh. All right, so water. Water's a really big deal. This is a brand new faucet. I believe it just hit the market last month. We got first crack at it. It's got a magnet to hold that. This piece slides off so you can clean it, which is nice. It's got an angled sprayer, so it's easy to move material around. But this is the thing that everyone's nuts about. This is a raspberry lettuce washing mode, and it produces a very fine, misty kind of spray that doesn't rip your fruit apart.
Right.
Which is really cool. Outlets. Outlets are great at destroying tile patterns. We have to have them where we don't have upper cabinets, but it's a very cool integrated under cabinet light and outlet system. You can get under there. And it's modular. So I can take off a light fixture, I can add a light fixture, I can add a speaker, I can add a TV. There's nothing green about this at all, but there's nothing not green about it. To me, it's just a more efficient, neater way of putting things in and letting people upgrade parts if they want to upgrade them in the future.
Sure. Does it have recycled content at all, or is it?
No,
it's just
local.
Yeah.
It's just local and made by good people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love there.
That's important.
So we have a bedroom, bathroom, kitchen all on the first floor. So this is universal design. Principles at work here allows for a family member to come live with you if needs be, or if someone had knee surgery and they can't do stairs. You have full single floor living right here, which is pretty awesome. Hand scraped hickory floors in that bedroom, and then 36-inch wide clearance access to all the adjacent spaces. Bathrooms. Obviously ceramic tile, but this is one of my, anybody who knows me knows how much I hate can lights because they're ugly and they're stupid and They cause a lot of problems. So we don't put recessed lights in our projects. There are no recessed lights anywhere in this home. But the worst place to put them, obviously the second floor, penetrating the envelope, but the second worst place is in a shower, because all that hot steam goes up into that can light. An IC rated can is not an airtight can, and it's definitely not a vapor tight can, and so you end up with condensation up inside that housing, and it inevitably drips back out. That's why we went from metal baffles to plastic ones, because they kept rusting. So what we do is we use wall sconces. We get exterior, landscape, outdoor, wet location rated, gasketed wall sconces, and we don't have any of the issues associated with can lights. Also, for people who shave their legs, having light that's not over your head is awesome. So there's that. We've got all of our fixtures here. Hey, check this out. This is kind of cool. I bet you haven't seen this. This is the hydro rail system. So you know how everybody wants to have a handheld shower and a shower head, and we end up putting a bar over here? Well, this is pressurized, right? And our diverter sits right on the unit itself. So I don't have an extra diverter sitting over here. I don't have an extra series of holes. I literally just have this one through point and one connection point for stability, and then everything is contained in a single system. So less hardware, less plumbing, less things to go wrong, and a really, really straightforward valve right on the unit. It's kind of cool. Moving on. Here, let's check this out. We'll go back outside again. Outdoor living is a big deal in our state. People like to be out on their screen porches, and we like to be cool. So this fan is 90% more efficient than the next most efficient fan on the market. LED light, smart control. You can control it from your phone, again, like everything in this house. It also has an occupancy sensor, so if it doesn't see people in the space, and I think you can set it the duration on that, then it just shuts off. And I know that my buddy Carl's pet peeve is people who leave their fans running all day.
I thought they cool the space, right?
Yeah, but you don't need it cool if you're not there.
No.
So that's that. This deck is also that cellular PVC, same material as the cladding system. So really the entire exterior of this is made out of the same stuff. This is a cross-cut of cellular PVC. It has a graphics wrap that is vinyl that goes around it, and then that's sealed with a super grippy PVC coating. When it gets wet, it gets grippy. So it's more grippy the wetter it is, which is nice. It also doesn't pick up as much heat as some of the other composite decks, which is also nice. The rest of this is cedar. The ceiling is not beadboard. It's a plywood that looks as beaded. It's stamped, but it carries the effect. And then we've got our speakers, because everyone wants music when they're sitting up on the porch. All right.
You're what?
Let's run upstairs real quick. The house is designed around the southern aspect, so even though we've turned on lights because it makes it look prettier, if you turn all the lights on, the house has still really got a lot of light, and there's no feeling like, oh, it's too dim in here, I need to turn on lights. So as we've been moving through the space, you'll notice we have lots of windows on the south, and then very few obstacles in their way, letting that light travel back to the rest of the house. So this bathroom is the kids' bathroom. We've got a unique system for the vanity. This is, again, 2 shelves and a cutaway for the trap. So you don't have to bend over and crawl in there. This is another example of a ceramic top with the felt in between. And again, another one of the really cool Kohler sinks and Kohler faucets. But this is brand new. So one of our challenges in bathrooms, and one of the requests that we get, is for fewer grout lines. So fiberglass shower surrounds aren't particularly attractive, right? And the stone surround is expensive and heavy, difficult to install. It's environmental drawbacks as well. So this is 1/4 inch thick, pretty lightweight, granite dust and polymer. So here we have solid panels that we can glue up that are very stable, that eliminate grout lines, that look good, and a corner system that is the best I've seen when it comes to waterproofing and water tightness. So I've got a really, really great watertight system for a kid's bath that is easy to keep clean, mold, mildew, all of that on the grout lines is gone. This is also kind of a brilliant concept that they've come up with. This is your shampoo ledge. It doesn't have a back to it so that you don't have a soap scum. But the pieces that connect it to the wall move. So you can always get to a stud. And so this ends up becoming incredibly strong. So instead of, again, lots of grab bars in a shower, now I've got a multifunctional piece. And I'm guaranteed to hit the studs without having to put a bunch of blocking back there and then make sure that the blocking is intact and someone found it, right? I can just go find the stud. Especially good in a remodel where you may not have the option to change what's happening in the wall behind you. You might be really limited. If you were to put this over existing tile, which is an accepted install, you could still bring a system like this back, find the studs, and get it installed. Let's see here. Let's keep moving.
What do we got from Panasonic?
Oh man, sorry, right. So our bath fans, this one has got a humidistat module in it so that, again, kids' bathroom, they forget to turn on the fan. This is wired so that if it senses humidity, it turns on. And we don't have to worry about any humidity accumulation in this space. Great question. The lighting, by the way, is all LED lighting throughout. So that's a good thing. This is a design component, and I don't know where I would throw it in the green building thing other than it's practical. Laundry on the second floor, yada yada, but more importantly, laundry between kids' rooms and bathrooms so that this serves as the hamper. Like, hey, take off your dirty clothes, throw them in there, take a shower, and come back out. And again, these are, all the appliances in here are Wi-Fi connected, so these will send you alerts if there's something wrong with the unit, if it needs a part to be replaced, and it'll tell you what the part is. If you haven't changed your water filter, it'll be like, hey, you need to change the water filter on your washing machine or clean it out. You always forget to do that. And then it clogs, and then they've got a problem.
So it's not condensing or heat pump at all? Any reason you didn't go with those other than just...
The condensing, well, the heat pump stuff I don't particularly like because I think they're overly complicated. I think when we get to WaterSense, on these units and Energy Star on these units, we're really doing so much better than we were for so long. You know, the clothes come out of a high efficiency washer pretty much dry, right? And 20 minutes in a dryer that's running really efficiently and they're dry. The condensing washer dryer units we've installed, but you know, your clothes come out wrinkled, and that is off-putting to some people. And they also come out hot, which is off-putting to some people. I think if this was a small 1 or 2 person home, that would be a good solution. But I think in a 3,500 square foot home, 5 bedroom, real world is you're talking about a significant amount of laundry being processed, and that's probably not going to cut it.
Sure.
But that raises a really good point. You know, green building is walking this fine line between a bunch of different concerns. So energy, water, health, durability, resiliency, and of course how we build it and the site and the community impact. But if we just, you know, focus in on one thing and we don't think about the user, right? Or even if we just focus on those elements but we take the user out of the equation, then we've kind of failed. So what we might do on a 1,400 square foot house in a very, very, you know, connected part of the city would be different than what we're going to do on a 4,000 square foot house that is further away from the city. So I think thinking about those users and their willingness to accept the systems, the technology, even the configuration of the house needs to be part of that process. And so there are things in this house that we maybe could have done, but didn't. Mechanicals are one of those where I feel really strongly about keeping it super, super simple. So when we go down the mechanical room, you'll see it looks super conventional. It's all high efficiency stuff, but there's nothing weird. We don't have any heat recovery stuff. Again, we're only $500 a year to heat the house, so we're already super efficient, but we did that without a complicated set of equipment that would maybe confuse somebody, or 2 or 3 homeowners down the road they might not be able to find parts for, and so then they fail, and then the house starts to fail. That's a really important thing for us to consider. All right, these bedrooms are the original bedrooms of the home, and again, being conservation minded here, we wanted to preserve as much of the original house as we could. So the original floors, the original doors, we did not change the layouts of these spaces. Again, we stripped the wall and ceiling coverings so that we could get, a better HVAC system through here that's balanced and all that great stuff, but we didn't change the actual layouts of the space. They're pretty good sized rooms. So, you could put 2 kids in here, or you could put your teenager in here, turn it into a home office. For the larger rooms and wherever we could, you'll notice that we have our supplies high and our returns low, which I don't know why everyone seems to forget about it, but it's really important. This little guy, this is cool. It's by far and away my favorite thermostat on the market right now. I'm not a fan of the Nest, as most people who know me know, but I am a fan of this system. It's very, very user-friendly. It's got all of my settings in it. I can go in and I can look at the system and I can make modifications if I need to. It has self-diagnosing, so it will contact directly. If it has a problem, it will alert you that there's a problem and either tell you to call them or change a filter or tell you that an arm on one of the zones isn't operating properly, which I like. Things like, hey, I'm going to go on vacation, and you can set the days when you're going to leave, and it's done. And of course, like everything else, you can control it from your phone. Also, really important, maybe the most important thing about this is it is an open system. So most homes have their HRV or ERV control and then their thermostat control. This is my heating and cooling and my humidity, my air exchange, all in one. So you can attach, I want to say, up to 6 pieces of equipment to this system, and it will use them together to achieve your desired goal. So if I want my house to be 75 degrees and 43% relative humidity, it will turn on the equipment that it wants to achieve that. So you don't end up with competing pieces of equipment that are trying to achieve the same thing but not doing it very well. So this to me is a huge deal, and it's great because it takes like 2 minutes to set it up, and literally, even somebody over the age of 50 can figure out how to use this without having to ask their kids how to do it. All right, let's move on into the master bedroom. This is a cool detail. This is a 1927 house, so we're Art Deco, right? And one of the things we wanted to do is put something in here that was interesting, that spoke to the stair-stepping qualities of Art Deco. This, which looks like wood, is actually just drywall. So on a project like this, there's a lot of drywall. There's a lot of drywall that gets thrown out. So to be able to create a cool accent molding like this without having to bring in a pallet of wood for it, just use literally drywall scrap, which is glued up, and then there's a bead on the outside, which is this inverted corner, and it's called reveal, and we use it in a number of places. We also use it on this doorway, as we're looking for ways to move away from wood trim, but not have it be that suburban rounded corner bead that everyone is sick of already. So this is an instance where we use an outside bead and then a reveal corner inside bead. And I think it creates a really pretty way to frame a door. I'm not worried about it from a durability perspective. It's patchable, sandable, paintable if it ever does get damaged, and really, really resource efficient. If we look down here, for those of us that care about how things look, you end up with this really beautiful stair-step effect between your shoe, your baseboards, and this reveal casing profile, which I think is really smart. Triple glazed windows are also important, and I think I talked about the windows before, so I don't need to go back at them, but triple glazed windows don't need to be big, heavy monsters. These are slightly smaller. I think they're 3/8 instead of half, which makes them a little bit lighter. And because it's a vinyl frame, you don't have fold-out flanges, so it's very square when you go to install it, which makes installing a triple pane window a lot easier as well.
Are they European or?
Oh, sorry. It's a California company. They own their own forests, and they have a number of plants throughout the country. They have one in Wisconsin, so these windows are made in like 30-minute, 40-minute drive from here, which is local. It's nice. The lumber that they use in their windows comes from their forests in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good question. This is more of that cabinetry and yet another configuration. This stuff open, this stuff closed with a felt insert, which some people like and some people don't. Master bathroom. So we didn't talk about tile in the other room because we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. This tile is cool to talk about. They are a very, very large tile manufacturer here in the States, and they're one of the most responsible tile manufacturers as well. They've got great programs where they will buy back old tile. In commercial projects, it's very common to install tile and 3 or 4 years later rip it all out and put in new stuff. And where does it go? So they'll actually take all of that tile back and put it in a dumpster, and they will pay for the dumpster to go back to the facility where they grind it and they put it back into their mixes. They've got a number of recycled content blends ranging from 30 up to I think about 60 or 70% recycled content. So good company to work with. Tiles made here in the States. It's not 500 miles, but man, it's pretty good. It's supposed to look like concrete that had wood forms when it was cast, and so you get a mixture of concrete and some wood grain within the system, which is quite beautiful, and a new finish that I call black chrome and they call something else, and they're going to get mad at me for forgetting what it's called. But it's cool, it's black, and it's shiny. And it's great as long as you don't have kids, because as soon as you touch it, you get a fingerprint. But if you're like me and you're super OCD, you clean everything every day and it looks awesome. This is more time. It's automated. It's got bidet built into it. It's got a heated seat. It's technically, a paperless toilet, although because it has a blow dryer in it, so it cleans you and then blows you dry. And they have a fancier one that plays music as well. But this is good enough for me. This one is okay. And honestly, once you've had a heated toilet seat in Minnesota, anything else is barbaric. They're beautiful, beautiful things. We do have heated floors in this room just for comfort. It's definitely not a green feature, but we do follow the EMF guidelines so that our start points and our end points are very close to each other, so we have a smaller EMF bubble around the system. This fan is very, very cool. If I can get it to show up here. There we go. Okay, so how do we make sure that people turn on their bath fans? Well, if we put a speaker in the bath fan, and the only way for you to listen to your music is if the bath fan is on, problem solved. So it's the strongest behavior change type tool that I've ever seen put in a home, because people are instantly like, oh, turn on the fan, and because they want to listen to music. So who cares about humidistats? Who cares about complicated wiring? This is something that just appeals to people's desire to listen to music. It's really, really smart. You're going to be in here showering, bathing, you're going to turn on music. Yeah. So they don't think of it as a ventilation device, they think of it as their speaker, and they have to turn it on in order to listen to it. And when they do listen to their speaker, they happen to be ventilating. It's really,
Can it run without sound?
Huh?
Oh, it is running without sound.
Yeah, so it runs without sound.
Yeah.
So, but you can't play the speaker unless you turn it on. When you turn it on, it starts to vent.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really simple. Let's see. Mudroom. This is just a space thing. It doesn't really have a unique feature in it.
This is where people can park, come in, take their shoes off, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Wipe your feet off.
Wipe your feet, take off your shoes, stash all of your goodies. Big, bright, open stairwell. Again, lots of windows, lots of light. And you might think that that's a recessed can light, but it's not. It's an LED surface mount light. 25 years, 24 bucks. Can't beat it.
$1 a year. Right?
Yeah, that's how you make this.
What are you doing? Are a little scary? Yeah. Okay, so this is the movie theater. This is the least green part of the project, but
no, because you don't have to travel to the movies.
You don't have to drive to the movies anymore, so you save all the gas, and you sit down here in this beautiful space. We didn't put windows in the basement. Windows in the foundation, again, it's another penetration. They're difficult to waterproof, and we have a lot of energy loss through them. Plus, I don't need any light where I'm watching movies. Right? There are no bedrooms in the basement because all of our bedrooms are above grade, and so there's no real need for a means of egress out of a basement space. So you get better insulation, better waterproofing, better basement system overall. Again, these are not can lights, these are the surface mount lights. Stained concrete floors, which is just a great simple finish. We will never put carpet down in a basement, or really, you may have noticed there's no carpet anywhere in this house, so we just don't believe in this stuff because it's gross. This is the original house over here, the 24 by 24 footprint. We put an LVT flooring down over the old concrete in here because it's not beautiful enough to be able to stain, and we could level it out flat enough to be able to put a surface treatment over it. This will last for a very, very long time. It's super durable, it's attractive. And I like it for a basement flooring solution. We don't have waterproofing underneath the slab. This particular material, when moisture accumulates underneath it, won't impact the material itself, and we don't have any transmission between what's underneath it to this level. So we aren't going to get mold, mildew, indoor air quality pollutants with this system in place. It's also important to note that while on the new portions of the house, we have 3 inches of extruded polystyrene and a great drainage system on the outside. For the west and north walls of the home, which are existing, we don't have that opportunity. So for those, we have our Delta MS on the inside, which is our dimple board with our spray polyurethane foam. That all goes into a drain tile in the floor, so it's a sealed system, so that water can't get past it into the house. And again, sandy soils here, we don't really need drain tile, but we've got it anyway. One fun feature here, original foundation. This is a poured concrete foundation home. One of the reasons it was a good candidate was because it was so square. Nothing had moved on it, and that's poured concrete. We didn't feel like people would accept a poured concrete foundation because it's not completely straight. And we actually use this as a basement finishing system where people have limestone and the mortar is starting to crumble out. You've got an efflorescence issue where we can rebar back into the stone. Concrete goes in between the stones, fills it up, and then puts a 2-inch layer of concrete, high PSI concrete, over the surface, which we can stamp, stain, treat, and you'll see in our wine cellar makes for a really attractive finished wall system. And again, working to find new materials that we can use in these spaces. I have drywall and wood for the rest. Sorry, not wood, drywall and metal. When we do our basements, we don't frame with wood, we frame with metal. The metal is on a capillary break, like sill seal, so that moisture that does move through the slab doesn't rust out the metal, doesn't hit the drywall. We've got a piece of treated wood at the bottom, which we use as our back nailer for our baseboard. So a bunch of things done there, just in case, redundancy, redundancy, redundancy. That's resiliency, that's durability in green building. It's critical. the last thing I'll show you over here is the mechanical room. And it's not as exciting as you might think. But this is how a mechanical room should look. It's efficient, it's put together well. You'll notice that our ductwork, top of the line Energy Star HRV for the house, which they've gotten very small, very efficient. We have our sump basket, which is totally useless and has never run once and never will, but we have it just in case. We have our radon mitigation system back here, which is a requirement in the state of Minnesota. And then we have our 96% efficient furnace. This is a 60,000 BTU furnace. Now this is fun. The max heating load on this house, I'll move back over here. There we go. So the max heating load on this house is 24,000 BTUs. Nobody makes a 24,000 BTU furnace. A 40,000 BTU furnace, which is the smallest furnace made, is a 2-speed furnace, right? And it runs at 25,000 BTUs and at 40,000 BTUs. But a 60,000 BTU modulating furnace will run 23,000 BTUs, 3-stage, more efficiently than a 2-stage. So we get the efficiency of the ECM motor, and so yes, this is a 60,000 BTU furnace, but we ran this thing through the winter, and I swear you never even hear the system kick on because it's always firing at its slowest and lowest speed. So that was kind of a fun. I don't know what to say. It wasn't fun. It was a problem-solving exercise that we hadn't anticipated needing something that small, because we thought with this size house, with 3,500 square feet, there's just no way that we're going to get that small with our furnace requirements. But that's what it is. People always wonder why we have our water manifold over here, but that's not water, that's a gas manifold. Everything gas is a home run, so that if there's any question upstairs, you just come down here and shut it off. Super, super easy. All right, I think, what else? PEX water to water lines. Yeah, I think you've seen everything. So, any questions?
This is a shot of the existing home right here. Let's do a little before and after. No, why don't we just wrap up real quick? Where can people find more information about OA, about this project?
Yeah, okay, so...
what if someone wants to buy it? Who do they go?
Yeah, the house is for sale. It's $970,000. It's awesome. It's you can learn more about the products, the systems, the wall systems, etc. At 5057ewing.com, and Ewing is E-W-I-N-G, so 5057ewing.com. It's got pictures of the house and an email address that you can email with questions about any of the products that you see here. All the plumbing fixtures are listed by model, so you can find them. Yeah, that's probably the best place. Of course, the GreenStar program is your best resource for green building. All of the stuff that you're seeing in this project is part of that program. These are all, with the exception of the OA Awesome Wall, which is brand new, they're all systems that have already been identified, drawn, detailed within that program, which has got all the best practices that you could need. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Great, thanks for having us.
Yep.
All right, well, that is the end. Thank you again to all of you for watching, all of our members, our sponsors, our board of directors. Thanks to our volunteers. Thanks to GeoComfort, Build Equinox with the smart ventilation system, Sun Intuitive self-tinting glass, Niagara Conservation, Panasonic Ventilation, and Certainteed Air Renew formaldehyde eating drywall. Couldn't do it without them. We couldn't do it without you. To pick up your continuing ed for this course, make sure to complete the 10-question quiz and then get an 80% passing rate. Please join us next time. Thank you.